growing up in church, when it's prayer request time, if you don't want to say your prayer request, what do you say?
Oh, I have an unspoken prayer request.
I have an unspoken prayer request. I think that is what we're talking about.
Right.
That church was for so long, it's an unspoken. Why? Why is it unspoken? Are you like afraid
Shame.
that you're going to be a
Right.
lesser person in this religious organization?
If you're human.
If you're human, so you have to act like, leave it so vague, like unspoken.
What's up, everybody?
What's up, friends?
Welcome to the Tug of More.
Guys, thrilled that you're here, hanging out with us.
Yep.
Just a conversation between two pals.
Two friends.
Two buddies.
Where we are.
Amigos.
Where we want to be.
Comrades.
I don't have one. I was trying to think, but I couldn't do it. Where we are, where we want to be. That's the tension. That's the fight. That's the tug of more, y'all.
Yeah, we're trying to tug into more, trying to step into everything that God has.
Right.
But that's hard.
It is hard.
It's painful because, crap, can I just get there yet?
Yes, and sometimes it feels like you've gone so far, like you look back and go, man, I've accomplished a lot. But then when you turn back around, you're like, wait, but the more is still really far away.
You're like,
And
yay,
so,
I made it 8 steps.
Yeah,
but
there's
I have
still 24 left to go.
Yeah, so much left.
But we talk about all different things. Leadership, Jesus, that's our context, the Bible.
Yeah.
And today we're going to talk about something fun. But before that, we're going to celebrate something.
What? What are we going to celebrate?
We're going to celebrate. So we had our open house, which is where we invite people to come and take a tour of the building.
Oh, yeah.
And get to know our team and get to know our people. And we had our open house last Sunday night, and it was amazing.
Biggest open house we've had. I think this is our 6th one. We do them quarterly.
Yeah, about quarterly-ish.
About quarterly. And so it was piggity packed. So
Yes.
many great people.
And we only just did one in February. So March, April. It's only 2 months ago.
Yeah, and we're going to have to
And
do
we're going to
another
have to
one
do another one in June.
before. When are we doing it? Post
June
Father's Day?
22nd.
Like the Sunday after Father's Day?
I think so.
Or
Yes.
before Father's Day?
No, after.
Because
And
we have so many new people coming that we want to help and get them
Which
connected.
is great. And
Yeah.
so they come, they take a tour, just like an open house if you're buying a house. And it's so great. It's the greatest thing we've ever done. And it was so beautiful. The best part was just how many people were already bought in, even though they've been coming such a short amount of time. And they were all wonderful people.
Yeah.
So it was very cool. What else?
I feel my energy's off a little bit today.
Why?
Do you ever feel,
You just told me you already ate a megillion pounds of protein.
Yeah, no, I ate all my protein. We didn't go out to regular staff lunch.
Yes.
Today we did like bring your lunch day.
We're trying to be economically kind.
Trying to be losers. Is what
No.
we're trying to be. And so we brought today was a bring your lunch day, and I just brought a protein shake, and so I'm kind of depressed about it.
That's what I was going to say. You need like either.
I feel just a little bit like non-celebratory.
Because
and it's raining.
Food is celebration. Yes.
It's been raining all day.
Well,
and so
we
it's
were
like
very chit-chatty in staff meeting, but in a good way, like relationally chit-chatty.
we had
But
staff meeting today.
I thought it was because of the rain. That's what I kept thinking. It's like the rain makes you like not want to be like super focused.
So
right?
I feel like my energy is. I sound like a new age person.
Your chakra is
my
off.
chakra is off.
Is that a thing?
I don't know. I don't even know what that means.
You got your hat on,
I do.
so you feel sporty. You look like a coach today.
This is what Rachel always says. This is now
But
her
this
new.
is the hat I
you
like
look like
on
a coach.
you. The like fitted
Athletic-y.
athletic-y. I like that hat.
Well, I try to wear the
more.
new cool hats, like the flat bill hats.
Yeah, which is fine.
And I look kind of like I'm a grandpa going fishing. I look like, where's my little John Deere riding tractor? I gotta mow my lawn. It's how I feel sometimes in them.
Like you're supposed to wear your socks and slides.
Yeah,
like,
this hat was given to me for free by our sponsor of the day for the podcast, Element, LMNT.
Yes, that's our sponsor of the day.
They're not our sponsor.
But I wish
that would be great.
But they are good. You said they send you gifts because you buy from them.
I buy this. They're just little salt packets.
Yeah. Yep.
And so
they help you hydrate.
they help me hydrate. So I buy them. And so I set up the membership. So like once a month they send me a box.
So this
and they
was a
send me a
thank
free
you.
hat.
It's Nike too. It's
Nike,
winning.
so I'm rocking it today.
I like it. What is anything else that we're? Oh, today is also a wonderful day. It's Lillian's 12th birthday,
My daughter's has turned 12.
which is like grown.
Dude, she's grown. Rachel sent me a picture of her this morning, and I've been totally fine. And then I saw this photo, and she looks 17.
Yeah, she does.
In the photo, I'm like, wait a second.
She's adorable is like not the problem, but the problem is she's adorable, she's smart, she's funny. Like she has every quality of like
Yeah.
She's a great young lady.
And so we'll see how this all goes.
So he's been shining his shotguns or what is it?
Yeah, dude, ready. I'm ready.
Beat him off with a stick. And she's curling her hair, which is so cute. Anyway, it's
There's
just
this
really
episode.
weird.
I don't know what the movie's called. 50 Cent is in it. It's like a.
Oh, it's a bad movie.
No, it's like a.
Yeah,
it's
well,
like,
it's like
a C level
It's like a shoot 'em up.
action movie, and 50 Cent's there, and the daughter is going to prom.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like the date gets there, and he's this like good looking little kid in a little suit, and 50 Cent he goes. Say, man, let me holler at you for a minute. And so he's like, oh, yes, sir. And so he takes him into the garage of his house, and 50's got like he's a cop.
His guys.
All his cop buddies and like two big Samoan dudes in like tank tops and like angry white boys with like tats on their face.
Yeah.
And 50 Cent's
Yeah.
like, it's been my job to protect her whole life. And now I'm handing that responsibility to you. Navigate it well. And then,
He's like, yes, sir.
And then like one of the big Samoans comes up in his ear and he's like, yeah. I'm like, this is what I'm going to do someday.
It's whatever it is. It's him and Gerard Butler because they just came out with a number like a second one.
I'm going to have Enrique and Aaron and Marvin King in my
you're gonna
garage
need
someday.
to. Yeah. All the King brothers.
Oh, the whole King clan.
They're all gonna come and they'll be like, treat her well. Yes. Oh gosh.
Okay.
But it's weird because I was thinking about this morning. Like, when you're like known someone so long, you were there the day they were born. It sounds so weird, but I was like, yeah, that almost. I texted her and I said, it's weird that you're 12 since you were born just like yesterday. And she was like, ha ha ha. You know, she's cute. So
I noticed
happy
something in
birthday.
staff meeting today
What?
that I was going to call you out,
What'd I do?
but I don't know if I shouldn't.
Well, you're going to. So
I saw you and Enrique making eyes. We were talking about getting a truck wrapped, and you and Enrique start making eyes at each other across the table. Like y'all have something planned
No.
that I don't know about. And so I'm looking at him and I'm looking at you. And then I said one more thing about it. And then you start, and I'm like, what are y'all doing?
I think we were not. We were having a miscommunication.
No, I don't believe you. They're up there. These two are up to something.
Nothing up my sleeve.
They're up to something.
I did not know what his eyes meant. At first I was like, huh? And then I was looking at him like, what does that mean?
And then, no, listen, I'm just calling out. Something's going on. I don't know what it is. Whitney starts trying to cover it. And then Enrique, when she's done saying her magical sentence of distraction, Enrique looks at her and he goes, and I'm like, I know what she's doing right now.
No.
We're talking about the 4th of July parade that's coming up.
That's true.
If y'all rewrap the Peep Jeep in America,
We're not doing that.
don't be keeping me out of the loop. I want to know what's happening around here.
Right. I was going to say, like, I'm not going to tell you.
It's like
that.
Enrique's, they're doing something.
I don't even, yeah, you're funny. That's funny. Sometimes conspiracy theorists.
We didn't land on the moon.
We didn't.
And Enrique
Yeah, but Katy Perry is an
Whitney-
astronaut,
Whitney
so
is in cahoots.
it's fine. I don't know. No, there was not. No, there wasn't. I was trying to understand. I was like, no, we did, and I knew it. We wrapped the truck. That's what I remembered, but I did not remember. I don't know. I guess we got. What do you call it? Crosshairs. But
Yeah. Guys, what's going on with y'all? I wish that we could have live. We need to do another live one. Julia, what episode are we going to be on?
This is episode 164.
Episode 164. Okay, are we going to do 175 or are we just going to wait to 200?
probably 200.
See, this is
Yeah.
what happens.
Yeah, I want to do
The
it,
great
but
dreams of men get
Yeah.
dashed. What was our live one? Was that episode 100?
yeah.
Wow.
Every 100. I know.
Every 2 years, we take a minute.
We can try, but you know,
No, we can't.
Our calendar cannot squeeze
This-
one more thing into it.
This last week, when I was preaching, I did a moment to like say thank you to volunteers and everybody, and then I said thank you to the staff, and I just listed out some of the events that we've done this month. And when you look back, it's absurdity.
The amount of people who came up to me that were like, "Are you okay?" Like, I was like, "It's a lot. It's been a lot." Or like some key volunteers who've been at a lot of them were like, "Yeah, I'm glad y'all noticed it's a lot."
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah, it is
But
a lot."
it doesn't feel like any of it we could have not done.
We could have done it different times.
yeah.
That's
There's
what
two of
we
them. There's
should
two of the
have
events
done.
we could have just worked into like the summer.
We should have
or-
moved around.
Yeah, we should
but
have moved
whatever. We're learning sometimes still. And
Listen, these pastors that act like they have it all together, we don't do that.
no.
We just are like, well, we're trying.
they're lying anyway.
Oh, they're lying.
So they're
I said a
yelling.
really hard line at open house.
Oh,
Me and
yeah.
Whitney at the end of
Yeah.
open house, we do like the whole tour, and then me and Whitney get up
Yes.
and we talk through some points. And it's like we have bullet point notes. Like we have literally a word
Yeah.
on a page
Yeah.
for like a whole. We have like the word Jesus,
Right.
And this is like to talk about how we believe that Jesus is the way, the truth, and life, and we have
Yeah.
all the stuff that we say.
Well, we've
And
been
got
saying it a long time.
I know,
so.
and I got off on a tangent.
Yeah.
While we were talking, and dude, I don't know what it was, but it was a hard line about that.
About how when you grew up in church, that pastors were always acting like they were perfect.
Yeah, pastors are always perfect, and I'm like, they lying. I don't know what I said, but after I was like,
Are you doing this on purpose? So I have a perfect lead in to what we're
oh,
going to
do you
talk
think I'm bump setting your?
Yeah, are you making
Oh.
eyes at me right now?
Yeah. Okay, hey, wink, wink, wink.
Because we both grew up in like super pleasant, everyone is perfect church.
Yeah.
And that's not our goal. Now we're trying to kill pleasant church.
Yeah, so
And that's what we're going to talk about today.
I'll do the setup for it.
Okay,
Whitney,
you do
Whitney,
it.
Whitney usually does the setup. I've had a number of people ask me, what does it mean when we say kill pleasant church?
Yes.
Because it's something that we just say in meetings and we say to our leaders, we say, hey, here at More Church, our goal, our job, our focus is to kill pleasant church.
Yeah.
And if you hear that, you can be a little bit confused because it's extremely aggressive.
Yeah,
It's like
it's
very aggressive.
directly aggressive, as we tend to be.
We're not passively aggressive. We're directly aggressive around
Right.
here. And so I've had so many people ask me, what does that mean? I think that we should just talk about it.
Yeah.
Now, it does not mean there's a church in Arlington called Pleasant Ridge.
Yeah, but that's an area of town.
No, so we're not talking.
We are
We're
not
not
trying
aimed
to
at Pleasant Ridge
kill
Church.
Pleasant Ridge area. Pleasant Ridge is like a neighborhood or something,
yeah.
right? No, Pleasant Church.
What
is
is
like,
Pleasant Church?
Well, you talked about it a little bit on Sunday. Church, or maybe that was Easter. Church of the '90s, of
Okay.
like how we turned all the carpet mauve. We put flowers at the front of the stage.
Yeah.
You had the beautiful big giant communion table, right?
Yes.
Did you have that? Yes.
Yeah.
And
With it carved in wood, do this in remembrance of me,
Absolutely. I
with
think
like a white doily.
there had to have been a place that they ordered them from.
Oh,
'cause
there were some Amish dudes making money hand over fist.
100%. Why are we doing that now? We should. But it was you wore your Sunday best is a
Yeah.
phrase that came out
Yeah,
of
leather shoes, big Bible.
I got in a fight with my family. I was one of the last people ever, probably in America, to not wear jeans on Sunday nights. Did you ever get in this
I
fight?
couldn't wear. I couldn't
was
wear
not
jeans
allowed
to
to wear
church.
jeans ever, except Wednesdays, the youth group. But I could not wear them on Sunday nights even forever. And like Pleasant Church that's what it was. You put on your very best. You put on your best smile. You went to church. You had your hair looking good. You had your family looking kind. If people asked you how you were in the lobby, you said blessed and highly favored.
Yeah.
Like you never let the cracks of life show.
Yeah, it was not real.
Right.
It was a show. I
And-
remember. Most Sundays of my life, we drove about 25 minutes to get to church, and most Sundays my mom would paint her fingernails in the car.
Really?
That was like
okay,
her.
Brenda. Yeah.
That was her like weekly because my mom owned a cleaning company.
Right, so
and
when
was
did she have
cleaning.
time? Right.
And so when you're cleaning people's houses, your focus is not like, do my fingernails look good? But on Sunday morning,
Yeah.
was like the time that I remember my mom doing this kind of like, primpy. What is the word?
Yeah,
Like
uber, like prim and proper.
yeah,
like,
prim and proper thing. And I always remember like, oh, it's because we're going to church.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
we're going to church, so you gotta,
Look your best.
Look your best. So mom's
Yeah.
paint her fingernails.
And that's how they would say, like, you want to give your best, you want to dress your best for the Lord, because I think the Lord really
Yeah.
likes suits and ties. I guess I don't know.
If
Like
you're not,
I've always
if you're not
thought-
in a pressed white shirt with a suit and tie,
yes.
he's
And I
not
mean,
gonna hear
really,
your prayers.
right now you are kind of doing something sacrilegious right now in this moment.
Oh, in
because
a hat.
You're in the house of the Lord in a hat.
yeah, and God can't hear your prayers.
No, the Holy Spirit cannot come through.
If you pray with a hat on,
Nope.
that your prayer can make it through the roof of a building,
Right.
But it can't make it through the disrespectful
Julia's
covering
face
of
is
the
so
hat.
confused because that is really a real thing. People
Yeah.
used to get really mad about. But like,
I mean, I think it's still honoring.
it's honor
to like
and
take off your
respect.
hat if you're praying.
Because I was gonna say we do it with the Pledge of Allegiance or whatever, the
Yeah.
national anthem. Take
It's
off your hat.
honoring.
But it was such a Pleasant Church that's what it was. The messages were pleasant. The worship was pleasant. Like you and I both grew up in a Pentecostal church, so sometimes there was a little more maybe hellfire and brimstone to some of the messages.
Yeah.
But all in all, the experience of going to church was a pleasant,
and
happy.
everything from street to seat. Like
Yes.
the lawn was greatly
Perfectly,
manicured, and
yeah.
the greeters were, "Hello, how are you?"
Yes.
Like not real,
No,
but
right.
like polished.
Polished.
And then you go in and you sit, and there's like pleasant music
Yes.
playing, and it's like,
The organ.
Praise the Lord. Like
Yes.
soft.
Soft is a great word for it.
Like the most gentle place I go.
Yes.
Which was
correct.
weird. Like as a young dude, I'm like, this whole place feels so gentle.
Right.
Like I can't run.
Oh, right.
Like I got spanked the vast majority of my life on Sundays, or at least disciplined verbally
Right.
for running in church.
Right.
And it's like, no, we don't act like
We
that.
act
here.
reverent.
Yeah.
And not that we're not
And it's not
saying-
against my parents. It's
right.
the culture of
it's
the church.
culture. Yeah. And we're not saying that you shouldn't be reverent before the Lord, but there was what is the phrase you
Facade?
say? Yeah, where you take the scripture and you kind of twist it to a way that works for man. That's like, no, I don't think that's what he meant. And like David danced before the Lord. Like all of these things
Yeah.
that are like, we kind of made it our version of what we thought, it should be. And so if you grew up in church, a lot in the 90s, especially 80s and 90s, you tend to have this very pleasant way about it. And in 2016 and 17, probably, I can't remember. It was Easter of 17, right? We made this like strong decision about being a very transparent, vulnerable place where we were going to share testimonies and we were going to be real about the real lives that we were going through. Because you and I both grew up with families that were very pleasant in the church directory.
Yeah.
Looked very pretty.
But had
in
real
their pictures.
stuff.
But had real junk going on.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden their parents aren't married anymore. All of a sudden their dad got arrested for this. All of a sudden all these things, and everyone's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
But it was because no one was ever real about what was actually going on in life.
Nobody would talk about it.
And so we made this decision, like, that's not who we're going to be. We're going to be a church where it's okay to not be okay, but also we don't believe that we're going to stay there, that God is a healer, redeemer, but also he's not afraid of our mess.
Yeah.
And like he came to heal and save a lost and broken world, not like pleasant people.
Yeah. All right, let's see a test. Whitney's going to know the answer.
Oh, no.
Growing up in church, when it's prayer request time, if you don't want to say your prayer request, what do you say?
Oh, I have an unspoken prayer request.
I have an unspoken prayer request.
How many of that used to make me so...
And I think that that is what we're talking about.
Right.
That church was for so long, it's an unspoken. Why?
Why?
Why is it unspoken? Are you like afraid
Shame.
that you're going to be a
Right.
lesser person in this religious organization?
If you're human...
So you have to act like, leave it so vague, like unspoken. Like, is someone sick, or
Right.
are you losing your house, or
Yeah.
is there a legal case,
Well,
or
it
is your
kinda
daughter
always
pregnant?
I was gonna say, it kind of always made you know, ooh, like it was almost like they must have something bad going on because it's unspoken. Because it felt like if it was a healing issue, you would speak about it.
Right.
If it was even a job issue where it was like my business, my company, and they're going through some changes. But if it was about your job, like, oh, I've been sucking at my job. No, you're not going to talk about that's unspoken. But it was like if it was something that's not my fault.
And so
Couldn't be my fault.
Yeah, so I'm confused. I was always
I might share
confused
it.
by the unspoken, because I'm like,
Yes.
if all of us are supposed to love each other,
Right.
and care about each other, and
carry one another's burdens.
bear the load of a friend, if the body hurts, if one
Right.
part suffers, the whole part suffers, then shouldn't we like talk about it and communicate with it? And so as we've really worked to cultivate culture here at More Church,
Yes.
we've pushed, and I'm really glad that you brought it up because I hadn't thought about it. That very first series we did back at that Easter 26 called Death to Life.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we started telling testimonies of people that have went from death to life. And it was so hard.
It was hard.
Remember that first year, we would meet with people. Now, they would tell us their testimony.
Absolutely.
But the minute that they were going to tell their testimony to the church, they would really have anxiety.
Absolutely.
about
Fear
it.
about
But-
the shame associated. And then once we did get some great people who were willing to share, we had a lot of people who grew up in the 80s and 90s church that were like, you're going to ruin these people's lives.
Yes.
Why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Why are you letting them tell their story?
But here's why. Is because there's this pretend hierarchy in church world that if you are holy enough, you're going to be allowed to be the lead usher.
Right.
And if you got it all together, the pastor's going to look favorably on your
Right.
family,
Right.
and your daughter's going to get to sing the offertory. This is a real thing.
You know
and so
it's
like
real.
back in the day, it was like if something in their family happened that was shameful,
Yeah.
then they were kind of blackballed
Right.
and removed from community. And so we all worked to keep it just pleasant.
Right.
Let's all come and be a little bit fake.
Don't make it a mess.
Don't rock the boat.
Right.
And then we're all just going to be allowed to come to this country club
Yeah.
and like be involved.
I remember we had this family. The dad was an usher, deacon, whatever we called it back then, a deacon, I guess, and on the board, whatever. And they had 2 daughters, and I mean, the most pleasant family. I remember like growing up, going to camp with them, and they always had the white kids, and I would always be like, "How are their kids so clean?" You know, like
Their shoes.
their shoes
Yeah.
were always perfectly white, and like, and when they got a little bit older, the younger daughter just started having friends in school and hanging out and da-da. Well, one night I was out with some friends and we were at a Taco Bell of all places. And
Yo quiero.
yes, and this girl shows up with some boys in this pickup truck and there, whatever. And she gets out of the car and blah, blah, blah. And just so happens these boys, I'm like, who are these boys? I've never met them before. They're from her school, da, da, da. And she's getting back in the truck and I say bye to her. And I see that they have like a I don't know, more than a 12-pack, like a big case of beer in the
Yeah.
car. And I'm like, oh no, she's 14. That's not good. Like in my head. And genuinely, I remember with like the kindest heart going to her sister, like, hey, I just wanted to tell you this happened. I'm not trying to get her in trouble. But I just want you to know because like, also we had just had another kid in our youth group who died in a drunk driving accident, the whole thing. And I said all of these words like, I love her and I would never want her to get hurt. And her parents were so angry that I would dare gossip about their daughter. And it became this whole thing. And I'm like, I came to you. Like, I didn't tell anybody else. I
Yeah.
came to you. Like, I love you. I care about, or I love her. I care about her. Like, she's a kid. I don't know her very well, but I want you to know. And they were so embarrassed.
How dare you threaten our name here?
They were so, ended up
Right.
within 2 years, that girl ran off to Florida, got married to some boy without telling her family, like ran off, waited till the day she turned 18, got married to some boy that they didn't know, this whole thing. And I'm like, I wasn't ever trying to lie or I was just trying to help,
Right.
you know,
what those parents, now it was a cultural problem in the church.
100.
So I'm not pointing the finger at the parents.
No.
I'm saying in a healthy culture, what the parents could have done is called Vic, your mom,
Right.
and said, hey, let's get a play date with our kids.
Yes.
Hey,
Right. How can we
help our
work
daughter's having a
together?
hard time?
Yes.
Call a leader.
do something to
Like,
help, but
take 'em out
rather,
to
how dare
lunch.
you? And then like completely just sweep it under the rug where it was like, oh, and it was like, it was to me this picture of, oh, people don't want help. I remember thinking like, oh, people don't want you to. In my mind, I'm like, no, like we can support each other. We can make sure we take care of each other. And I remember just being a young person like, that's confusing. Wouldn't you want to have other people help you? You know, I don't know. It set a precedent in my mind of recognition of like, oh, people don't want mess in church. They don't go together. And that's not true.
Well, and that's not the Bible.
Right.
Like we say it all the time. You don't have to get cleaned up to go to God. You go to God to get cleaned up. And I think the church should be the same way. That you're allowed to come in here, not all together.
Right.
But like in here is where you can assimilate and get a little bit organized.
Yes.
Like build your foundation here. It's okay if you don't have it.
Right. And like, and nobody's trying to, I think that's the word that we never hear here, which is so good. But I heard a ton growing up was judgmental. Like no one here is judging you. They're here to help you. And that is like,
Now we're going to speak truth.
I was going to say,
but we're also going to throw our own selves under the bus.
Absolutely.
Or empathize with how we used to
we
be.
strongly believe the word of God. So we believe that all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. I've been there too. Me too. I've screwed up. So let me teach you what I learned and you teach me what you learned and together we can grow. And so in the judgment of like church, I think that's what I used to hear from people my age that I would invite to church that didn't go, would be like, I don't want to go get judged.
Yeah.
I don't want to go have people tell me how to be. And it was like, no, they just want to love you. But did they? I don't know. But that's what we've tried to create here is a place where we can just love each other in the midst of our mess and flaws and sin but then help each other get out of the ditch of it, you know?
One of the reasons that I say it so much or bring it up all the time is because, you know, we're always growing.
Right.
And so new people are coming
Right.
in. And I think that at More Church, correct me if I'm wrong, but I would say that half the people that start coming to More Church, half of them are genuinely like not a Christian.
Right.
And the other half are kind of not satisfied with the church that they've been attending.
Yeah.
You think that's right now, or you think we're about
Yeah.
half or?
Yeah, or I would say we're half not a Christian, didn't grow up in church, or half either not happy with the church they've attended, or kind of have fallen away
kind
from.
of like de-churched.
Yeah, fallen away from the church they grew up in, kind of
Okay,
thing.
so maybe a quarter.
Yeah, a quarter
25,
and a
25,
quarter.
25, 50. Okay,
Yeah.
so 25% of those people that come in that are leaving the church or the church they have been at, they're accustomed to Pleasant Church.
Yeah.
And so they come in and they expect that they have to put on this like front in front of all of our leaders and super in front of me. Like
Yeah.
I'll talk to people and they start acting so weird. And they put on this front and I
Yeah.
see right through
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Because I grew up in it. And I'm like, just be real.
Right.
You're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. Years ago, we had a family start coming to our church that had left a very pleasant church.
Okay.
They were at a very pleasant church and I don't know why they came. They came to a house party or something to see a friend or somebody get baptized or their teenagers started coming. I don't know. And this family starts coming and they hear us talking about real stuff. And I'm being transparent and we're really like teaching things. And they start really learning. They're watching online. Before you know it, they're coming every week. They're here, they're involved, they're committed, they're connected. Their kids are in youth, their kids are in kids ministry. Like they're more church people now. But they still had this Pleasant Church all over them. All over their whole aura is they're putting off this like polished Christian American. And then he got caught in an affair.
Yeah.
He started talking to somebody that he worked with and met her at a park. And then like a friend of the wife saw the husband and this lady at the park and called the wife. And so the wife kind of freaks out and tells us.
Yeah.
Tells me and you or tells
She called me and told me, yeah, like hysterically told me. And then we set a meeting and we all met.
So we had a meeting and we sat down and talked about it. And very like the great thing about you and I's dynamic or Rach and Aaron's dynamic
Yeah.
is we have all femininity and all masculinity
Right.
in those conversations.
Right.
And so I'm punching the crap out of this dude
Yeah.
while love and grace.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
and I remember after that meeting, it felt like we nailed that. Like it went so good. They're going to be restored. They're on the right journey. They've admitted it.
Yeah.
And they couldn't recover from it not being pleasant.
Right.
And they were so embarrassed,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
think?
yeah.
That like this news was out and the pastors knew that they left and they went back to their pleasant church and they never told anybody.
Yeah.
And their kids paid for it.
Right. That's
Now
it.
that 10 years have gone by,
Right.
their kids have paid not 10, less than 10.
But it's close. Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, they were right there. They were on that edge in that meeting talking
Right.
to us. They were finally pulling the mask. Well, she was pulling the mask off of Pleasant and being real with people that loved her and had the biblical tools to start discipling
Yeah.
some stuff in them. But they were so committed to Pleasant
Yeah.
that they just went back and put on makeup and painted over their hurt and
kept hurting.
kept hurting.
I think that's the part that
This is why we say we're going to kill Pleasant Church.
Right. I think that's the part that since I was that 16-year-old teenager, like what I remember from that day forward is when you are unwilling to just face it, unwilling to even just look at it, the mess for a minute, then the mess just gets bigger.
Yeah.
It's like this rug. If we pile it under the rug and then we pile it, eventually there's a
tripping.
hump as big as this table
Yes.
under the rug.
And everybody sees it anyways.
Everybody sees it. Everyone's tripping over it.
Yeah.
It's a big elephant in the room. And yet we think, oh, it's fine. Everything's fine. And it's like, wouldn't it be easier to just clean the dust out from underneath the rug? Like,
Yeah.
wouldn't it just, yes, it will be messy for an hour and a half, for a year and a half. I don't know. Depends on how big the mess is.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be messy for 10 years.
Yeah.
And your kids don't have to pay the consequence. And I just think what God's been really kind in showing us, because we grew up Pleasant Church, even the start of this church was more pleasant in the beginning.
For sure.
But then we had this moment where it was like, here we go. We get the opportunity to make a change. Okay, let's make the change. And God was really kind in allowing us to be front row to some mess in some people's lives and see the healing that can come from just being real about it and getting to the other side of it. And I think had we only experienced super pleasant people who couldn't get through the muck and mess in the beginning, we might have been like, oh no. But instead, in his kindness, he was like, watch, you did it right here. Keep going, keep helping them. And it was like one step at a time to now, everybody's just okay with everybody being like in the midst of their mess. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like now, had we had the culture we have now, immediately, it might have been overwhelming. But there's this gradual moment
Yes.
for us that like allowed, okay. And then also affirmed us to continue, you say it all the time, to use our own lives as a canvas to paint upon. That then allowed some of the pain I walked through, some of the pain you walked through, to be able to be very real and transparent about it. Are you going to sneeze?
I have to sneeze, and it almost
Did
came
I ruin
out.
it? Did I
Yeah, you
ruin
ruined it.
Okay, I ruined your sneeze.
Maybe
Sorry.
it will just reappear quickly.
Achoo! Oh. But go.
It's hard. It's like we have had to model
Yes.
Kill Pleasant Church. We've had to mold the culture
Yeah.
to, it's what you're saying. It wasn't all at once.
Right. That's what I was thinking.
But
is
then
like,
people, I'm about to hit all M's. We had to model it, we had to mold it. But then people that come in, they have to mature into it.
yeah.
Like at some point you have to be okay to cry to somebody. Like and in Mansfield, in the beginning when we started,
Right.
we would do prayer partners,
Right.
and it was like pulling teeth.
I'd just come up with a prayer
And
request so that somebody went up
we
there.
would know what people are walking through,
Right.
and then prayer partner time would come, and they wouldn't go up to a prayer partner, or they would, and they would tell the prayer partner some bull crap.
Right.
They'd be like, "Hey, man, the hailstorm in our roof needs to get." Yo, what? Dude, you got a kid strung out on crack.
Right.
You down here with a prayer partner making up the most fake prayer.
Right.
And I'm like, but people have to mature into like, okay, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, but you're saying something that people, I think, have, and maybe right now are fighting in their heads. It is maturity to look at mess and deal with mess and be real about mess. And I think a lot of people think it's immaturity, and that's why they fight it so hard.
Oh, okay.
They think that,
Oh, I'm not going up there.
oh, I'm mature. I've got it together. I can handle it. I'm fine on my own. And they see what I think you and I have gone through in the transition of people that have been there and left and come and gone and all things and weren't really on board with it. They thought they were mature people, but they were really people unwilling to mature.
Yeah.
And so they tried to keep it all put together. And it's
Yeah.
like, no. Real maturity is being able to own your junk,
Yeah.
own your mess, own what you're walking through. And I'm like, yeah, that's good revelation.
Money masks maturity.
Yes.
And so, like, I think what I see is that sometimes people that come in, they got plenty of money, that they've used that money to mask what's really broken in their life.
Yes.
And because they've got the brand new white Keds,
Right.
and they've got the polished Cadillac in the parking lot or whatever,
No, right.
there's this like, oh, we don't show that.
Right.
Like what happens in the house stays in the house. But there's something about people that are in a different financial state
Right.
that God's really their only option.
Absolutely.
And so they're willing to just talk about it a little bit
Yeah,
more.
absolutely.
And I'm like, but that's foolish.
It's foolish.
Because just because you have money doesn't mean you're mature.
Well, because we have watched people.
Because that money can go away.
Yes, I was going to say, we
And
have
it
watched
will.
people at higher socioeconomic statuses come and go in their mess and pain. And we've watched people completely broken and broke come in. And now I'm 5 years on the other side of it. I'd pick their broken and broke life all day over the other one because of what God's been able to do through their willingness to be like,
And because God's in heaven, he can send money.
Right. It ain't even hard for him.
I mean,
That ain't
we
even a
could
thing.
name couple after couple right
Right.
now that right now have dealt with the mess and have matured, and now the Lord's sending them money.
Oh.
And they're getting blessing. But I could tell you couple after couple that came in with plenty of money, have no maturity, and they got no peace. What good is it to have a giant house and a
Ain't
boat
no good for
and
nobody.
3 cars, but you hate your life?
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. We're working to kill this pleasant church. Let's just actually rip our guts out
Yeah.
in front of Jesus and in front of people that care about us and like do the heavy lifting.
Yeah, I joked or said that a minute ago, like David danced before the Lord, but I'm like, that's an actual story in the Bible where his wife was like, "You're making a fool of yourself."
Yeah.
And yet, no, I'm literally being broken, open, joyful before the Lord, and like that's just all we're doing.
Yeah.
It's a representation of like it's not me, it's Him in me that allows me to be free, allows me to be whole, allows me, and it's when we care too much about ourselves
Yeah.
that we put on the pleasant face.
You remember the TV show Biggest Loser?
Yep.
So Biggest Loser used to be the TV show for the young people where they would get like really obese people and make them live at like a fat camp. That's what they would call it.
Right.
And they would lose like 200 pounds
Yeah.
in 16 weeks or something. One of the most amazing things about that show is they would get these people to take their clothes off in front of a television
Yeah.
camera.
Yeah. And get on a scale and all.
Get on a scale. I mean, can you imagine being 600 pounds, 500 pounds?
No.
And you got to take off. I mean, they're not like naked, but like they
like,
take off their clothes
yeah.
in front of 30 cameras and get on a scale. What they did on that show was they took off the covering.
Mm-hmm.
They took off and they would like print out a giant cardboard cutout of you with no shirt on
Right.
and make you look at it.
Right.
They ripped off all of the facade.
Right.
All the big sweaters
Yeah.
and like oversized shirts and I think that it helped the contestants to like shake them into like I have to make a change.
Yeah.
Now I know Biggest Loser, they gain weight back, and all I'm saying is there's something to opening up yourself
facing
and
it.
facing
in
it.
reality. What do you think is some of the common misconceptions when we say kill Pleasant Church? Like, what do you think some people think that we mean?
It's a great question. I think that what they think is what we mean.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Like, I think that they think that we mean we're not Joel Osteen.
Oh, okay.
That's what I
Yeah.
think they mean, but maybe I'm wrong.
No, I just wondered. Like, I'm thinking, do they think because we're a super friendly church?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, I want to kill a couple of the misconceptions.
Right. And we're not Mark Driscoll.
Right.
Which you might not even know who that is.
But
We're not like
we're not
overly
hellfire
aggressive.
and brimstone.
Yeah.
We're not saying turn or burn
We're not saying get it together.
or else you're going to
Yeah.
hell tomorrow. Like,
Right.
that's not how we are. We're super loving,
Mm-hmm.
full of grace, full of relationship. I mean, our relational equity of our church is one of the highest.
It's what it is.
I mean, it is.
Yeah.
The church is because of from the street to seat, the love and the reality of realness. I think that's what I was hugging. There's this couple that comes all the time. They got married a few years ago. I think maybe you did their wedding. I think you did. And she had a son, and then they had a son together. And they're teachers. They're doing a great job.
Mm-hmm.
But what I love about them is that every time I talk to them, they'll just be real with me
Yes.
about how's it going. And he'll say, "Man, we're hanging in there.
Yeah.
You know, we've got this many weeks of school left.
Yeah.
This, baby's not been sleeping that well. We're trying to not snip at each other. And, we know if we can just get to summer, then we're going to be all right. We can take a break and breathe." And like, yes.
Yeah.
Because that's real. And that is what people can relate to.
Be a
Because
person.
all the other moms who are walking in are feeling the same way.
Yeah, what you don't have to say is, man, Pastor, we're doing great. I just finished reading Romans, and the Lord has inspired me,
Right.
and I found this new worship song, and, I can't wait to go to the women's event in 3 months.
Right.
That's pleasant church.
Right.
Like, all those things might be true, but how are you?
Right.
Dude, my kid threw up 3 times last night. I can't even believe I made it to church.
But we're here.
And
That's like, there's victory in realness. Like
Yeah.
you're able to celebrate and rejoice the realness of what God's done. And I mean, you and I both know the the story and the testimony of what God's done has more impact and power because I know where they came from, because I know what they walked through, because I know what they got through to get to the other side of it. And I'm like, isn't that the whole point of what he asked us to do, was to go and tell the good news? Well, the good news is what Jesus did, yes. But if we don't attach some of our story to that, it doesn't really help translate for people what he can do for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's like, no, if we're going to tell of the good news of Jesus, here's what he did for me, here's what he can do for you. We have to be willing to share some of our own ish and
Yes. We have a lot of pastors that watch or part of the Tug Team from other churches, and they're part of the team.
Yeah.
And I think if you're a pastor at a church that is very pleasant, then you just have to lead that charge
yeah.
with your own transparency,
Right.
with your own mess, with your own, like, I'm just a person. Like on Easter, I told a story about how we had a big fight in the Baba house before Easter because Titus wanted to wear Crocs on Easter. It's a stupid story.
Yeah.
It's not like even deep.
Right.
But what it does is it humanizes me. It's talking about a battle in my house. It's talking about how my kid doesn't want to obey.
Right.
And like, just start there. Like, if you can't start talking about how you used to have a pornography addiction,
Right.
okay, cool. But I think you can set it a goal that in 12 months you tell that story.
Right.
But like, what's the next story you can
Right.
tell? Like, I've talked about my struggles with eating, right?
Yeah.
That's not fun.
Right.
Dude, I hated doing all of that. But now that I don't have any secrets, well, that's not true. I still have one story that I haven't all the way told. You know what it is.
Oh, yeah.
There's a story from Rachel and I in our marriage that we haven't all the way, we didn't have an affair on each other or anything.
Right, right.
But like, there's a story that we're waiting to share at some point. But I'm like, dude, it's so free to have all of your stuff out.
Yeah.
But if you haven't at all, start a little bit. Push yourself. Be nervous. Like, be nervous that you're going to say you used to have a drinking problem.
Right.
Be nervous to say, man, you used to gamble online.
Yeah.
Because what I watch time after time is pastors fall gambling online, having an affair, looking at porn, embezzling money. If they would have just started talking about like what God was doing in their life, they would have some freedom.
Well, there's this great like fear of retribution too, though, that does come from some of the culture of church.
Go there.
Places of people who've been punished for ridiculous things.
Yeah.
You know, I was thinking about
We
it.
have a friend who just got fired.
Yeah.
Tell him the story.
For literally someone saw him come, someone was down where the bars are in Nashville and saw this person coming out of a bar and called his pastor. I'm like, wait, weren't you, so if you saw him coming out of a bar, where were you? And they like literally brought him in and literally like asked one question. And
Were you there?
Were you there? And you're out, you're fired. And it's like, what? Like, did you investigate if this guy has an alcohol addiction or if he had one drink, or could you reprimand him or give him a write-up, or you're just going to...
Send him to counseling for 3 months.
Right, like, oh, he's worked there for 17 years with no ever, what is the word? Disciplinary action ever?
But what happens when the church acts like that is it forces everybody to hide.
Right.
Everybody.
It only causes more chaos, and it's the enemy's greatest trick.
Well, it's the whole...
That's the part that makes me so angry.
Right. It's the whole priests don't get married because it keeps them holy.
Right.
No, it doesn't.
Right.
It just brings out depravity in other places.
It's just the saddest. Well, I was thinking about it, McKinley.
But we've just both watched the movie Conclave, and so we've got that like spinning around. In
yeah,
our
that's
heads.
real.
Yeah.
Because they're about to have to get a new pope.
Yeah.
Anyway, no, I was thinking about when McKinley got hit in the eye with.
Which is the grossest thing I've ever seen.
It's the grossest thing.
This is what Jesus came to fight.
But
and we've just recreated the most religious, fake,
right. But you're not
pleasant thing you've ever could imagine.
But you're not only pointing at the Catholic Church, like that's every.
Well, I just spent 45 minutes pointing at
every type of. Yes,
yeah.
I was just saying, like not just them, everyone. Yeah. But I was laughing because McKinley got hit in the face with a golf ball, right? And in her,
we talked about that.
We already talked about that. If you didn't go, it was traumatic, and God's healing her, and it's gonna be good. But she says that she said a bad word when hit her. And she like sent you a text as a joke, like tongue in cheek. But then I thought about it later, how funny it was, because in other culture, that might not be a tongue in cheek joke.
No, other churches ought to called her into a meeting.
Yeah, she said like, I'm sorry if you heard me say a bad word. Please don't fire me, or some joke like that to you. But I'm like, it's funny because
You just got your skull broken
you literally have 3 broken bones, like
in your face.
and like she's saying it as a joke, but I'm like, no, that's probably a reality for other people.
But
of,
even
like,
even in McKinley, who could be closer to me than McKinley?
right.
She's a
Literal daughter, right?
literal like an uncle, a niece.
Yeah.
But yet that thought, even it come out as a joke,
Right.
That thought of, oh no, Pastor,
Right. He
Pastor.
heard me say that. Right.
We just have to be aware that we're not being pleasant.
Because I think that's the part that I don't know how we can, but I'm like, there has to be a way to dig that more of like, it brings freedom, not failure. It brings peace, not retribution. Like, because when we do the opposite, we cause more damage. And I think that's the piece of like, why are y'all doing all this? Why are y'all working so hard? And it's like, because we've watched the damage. You and I both know 2 different instances before leading this place where people went through massively painful, horrible things where no one was there for them because we hid it all, swept it under the rug. One person's in prison, another person's had an affair, and are all like their whole life's falling apart. But we are not going to talk about it.
Yeah.
So instead, these people just disappear.
Yeah.
No one's loving them, caring for them. And now knowing who they are today versus where, and it's like, now their lives are a disaster.
But if they would have just been allowed to talk about it somewhere and not judged and shamed and blackballed.
Right.
Now, listen, that does not mean if someone has like a massive ethical issue in their life, that doesn't mean that we're just going to let them preach.
No, correct.
Like if Whitney comes to me and she's like, hey, Pastor, I'm actually been a drug addict. I've been doing cocaine for the last 7 years and hiding it from you and Aaron.
Guess I'm not preaching Mother's Day anymore.
Then I'm going to be like, whoa,
Right.
like, okay.
No, there's real-
we need to, what's the pathway of healing here?
Right. Correct.
I'm not just going to,
We're not, again, I'm saying it. We're not sweeping it under the rug in pleasantness nor in passivity of sin. We're going to deal with real things.
Yeah.
But we realize that there's more damage done in just pretending like it didn't even happen. That's ridiculous.
I don't even want to bring this topic up because you and I aren't really able to talk about it, but you just had a meeting with people that might help you. In Hispanic church, this is even bigger
Oh, yeah.
than in like our kind of background,
Oh, for sure.
multicultural,
Yeah.
predominantly Caucasian
Yeah.
church. Then in Hispanic culture, you make one screw up.
You're out forever.
You like are scarlet lettered for
Yeah.
life.
Well, one of our first testimonies was a Hispanic couple who had gotten pregnant. They're married. They've been married now for, golly, 15 years.
Yeah.
But they had gotten pregnant before they were married. And the shame of that was eating alive at them so much that though they both had a call to ministry, they weren't chasing it.
Right.
Because they had basically been, blackballed by their whole family and their church they grew up in. And I mean, Rachel knows it more than anyone, but like in that culture, one mistake, it's like, oh, their life is over.
Yeah.
They're literally, and I mean, honestly, the culture I grew up in, if something similar like that would have happened to me, that was kind of how I was
I guess
raised
that's
to
true.
believe
Yeah.
that would have
You've
ruined my life.
disqualified-
I've disqualified my life. And it's like, I'm pretty sure Matthew was a tax collector, which is actually like a giant thief.
I'm pretty sure that Paul murdered Christians with rocks.
Right. I'm like,
And now it doesn't mean that you can just jump back into like everything's fine tomorrow.
No, there's
like
redemption
there's a
and-
restoration process.
Right. There's consequence to
Yeah.
our actions and our sin, but there's not condemnation forever that we've now disqualified ourselves from being able to ever serve in ministry or even serve what you said, like on the usher team. I think that I remember in the beginning, it was something that we had allowed that we didn't really have a big deal with. And I remember talking to someone of another church and them being like, but wait a minute, you let them be on your usher team if they were just an alcoholic 3 months ago? And I'm like, we don't let them lead people yet until
Right.
they've gone to the other side of their healing.
Yeah.
But when people have come and got saved last Sunday, they could serve waving and greeting in the parking
Right.
lot.
Why can't you
Why
serve
would we-
coffee or be a greeter or help people check into the kids system
if they were even actively in recovery of things. Like,
Right.
what?
Yeah.
No, that's absurd.
Oh, there's a difference between carrying and preaching. There's a difference between stage ministry.
Yeah.
Right? Or like leading
or even
people, being a
leading
life
people.
group leader.
Right. But I remember it being such a like, oh, weird. I didn't even realize that. But then as you said it earlier, I'm like, no, you're right. Growing up, absolutely not. They would not have been allowed to serve in certain capacities. And so I think it's just an understanding of what true discipleship is. And it's not just checking boxes and going through Bible book classes and making it look like getting the gold star at the end. And it's actual living life and like rubbing shoulders and how did you navigate this and how do I that is what actually helps people get to the healing.
So I remember years ago when we were at Aristide. So this is like in the very beginning when we're still very much pleasant church.
Yes.
Like look good, be nice. This family came that was very much pleasant.
Yes.
And they had a whole bunch of kids. And they're coming in, and the husband is like 6 steps ahead of his wife. And then his wife comes in, and then here comes all the gaggle of kids. They got like 5 kids. And their kids would be dressed in matching outfits all the time.
Yeah.
They'd be like all dressed as like little sailor boys.
Yeah, they're like the gingham sailor little outfit family with the boys had the long white socks and the
Yes. And the mom comes in and she's like looks perfect, and here comes the 4 kids. And then like the 5th kid is in like pajamas.
Yes.
And their hair's not done. And the mom is apologizing all over the place and like 4 out of 5 ain't bad. 4 out of 5 ain't bad. Like I got
She
4 out of 5.
literally said it to like every person, like 4 out of but
And I'm like, no, dude, your kids look better than my kids look every day of the week. Like
Right.
relax.
Right.
Your kids don't have to be dressed as sailors to come to church.
Right.
Just brush their teeth.
But it was a perfect analogy. I thought of that earlier when we were talking because that is how they live their whole life. And I think that is the part that you said before. Church used to be the softest, gentlest place that you went. And what we decided was, what if church was just the same as the rest of our life?
The realest place.
And it could be the place that we actually felt the most comfortable and felt the most like ourselves. And I think that was the shift where it's like, no, I just want to be, what was it? Oh, you laughed at me the other day when I got my lips tattooed. Remember?
Oh, bro.
Because I showed up at work because I had a meeting that day afterward. And it's only an hour-and-a-half procedure or whatever. And so I come in and my lips are swollen, ginormous, like ginormous.
She looked crazy.
And I look like, like I've had injections.
And I said to her, Whit, the fact that you're showing up right now shows how much confidence you walk in.
Yeah.
Because like you look
Crazy.
weird. You look weird. But like you're here with lips all stretched out, looking like you got stung by 19 bees.
Rubbing my chapstick all over my mouth.
Dude, mouth all oily
But
and
I'm
stuff.
like, I told him, I was like, but who else? Like, these are my people. They're going to see. If I don't show up here, I'm going to send a picture to them anyway.
Yeah.
And like,
So if you look crazy, show up anyway.
Yeah, I think the freedom to know just like, come as you are, like we used to say that when we were growing up.
Yeah, it was a song.
But nobody meant it.
No.
And like, come as you are, as long as you're cleaned up and you bring your tithe and offering and you
have
don't
your
argue
giant
in the
leather-bound
parking lot.
Bible.
Right. And it's like, no, just come as you are. And like, what is the phrase we say? You don't clean up to go to God, you go to God to clean up. And it's like, if we just actually took that and did that, then what would it look like? And now I felt like Sunday night was such a beautiful representation of that's what it looks like. Like it makes me like, oh, Sunday in second service, I got so emotional because at the end of service, you did this great message talking about the army of the Lord and like, or the angel of the Lord. Sorry. And how all we have to do is call on the name of Jesus. And like, that changes everything. And the hunger for people was so tangible and real of like, that is what I need. It's all I need. And like, it's not about us. It's not about looking the part and having it. It's about what Jesus can do in and through us. And that's the whole,
the reason the whole
thing.
The reason the whole room responds to the altar call and comes up to front worshiping
and weeping
is because they've lit down their pleasantries.
Right.
Because like, who cares what, like, I'm not thinking about what person on row 8 is thinking of me.
Right.
What's God going to say to me right now?
Right.
That should be the priority.
Yeah.
So that's why we kill Pleasant Church.
So we kill it. If you have any questions about what it means after this, if we didn't answer them properly, or if you had a different misconception, let us know, because it's important. I think we say phrases and we have them in our vernacular, but yeah, I'm glad we talked about it, because I'm like, oh no, it's going to be a mess to get messy with people.
Yeah.
And like, we have meetings all the time that are a mess, but I'd rather have the messy meetings than the pretend ones.
Yeah, then just have a bunch of people come to our church but not actually get their life any better.
Right.
That
See them
seems pointless.
on Instagram in 10 years and be like, what in
seems
the
kind of-
junk happened?
It actually seems kind of manipulative of us. It seems like all we want is their money.
Right.
If we just keep it pleasant so they keep coming and giving.
Right.
What we should do is keep it pleasant and just
Right.
keep you coming and giving.
Instead,
We're trying to really tug you into more.
right.
Boom.
Boom. Boom roasted.
Titus Babel mic drop.
John Cena. I'm going to go John Cena on the devil. It's the best thing I ever
Oh, that
saw.
was absurd. We need to post those somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know how to do it, but we will somewhere.
All right.
All right. That's all.
Love you.
Love y'all.
Oh,
What?
have we talked about Tomming Around Town?
It's the next one. We announce
Oh,
the next
all
winner
right.
on the next episode.
Next episode, Tomming Around Town.
Yes.
Free merch is coming your direction.
That's right. Love y'all.
See ya.